My boys, I would say that video games are a prominent source of relaxation in today's society. You know, there's nothing quite like getting as comfortable as possible in the comfort of your own home and just kicking back to enjoy some Zelda, some Red Dead, Pokemon, Animal Crossing, Call of Duty, Hello Kitty, Island Adventure, whatever game it is you enjoy. I mean, even the games that piss us off, we find ourselves playing to unwind at the end of a day. I mean, it's kind of awesome how video games give us this ability to just absolutely be immersed in an entirely new world that takes us far away from the real world events that plague us. But you want to know something else that can take you to new worlds and shield you from the daily stress of life? Damn. There is an absolute plethora of different things in this world that combine and work well together. Like, you like chocolate? You like pancakes? Boom! Chocolate pancakes. You like Sonic? You like Mario? That can't be right? That's not. The point is, a lot of different things work well together, and one of my favorite things to combine are video games and that stink rank marijuana. I mean, honestly, what better way is there to immerse yourself into a world of pure imagination than just completely handicapping yourself mentally? Weed kind of falls into this category of something that people partake in for relaxation purposes, and hey, me too. Personally, I'm an end-of-the-day weed doer. I just get everything out of the way that I need to do during the day, and the second nightfall hits, I am in my bed with bloodshot eyes, being way too immersed in Paper Mario. Hell, some nights I am Paper Mario. So I had this idea to go through some different Nintendo games that are integral games to play when high. So if you're an enjoyer of the chronic, the cat piss, I'm talking some rank, dank, alien breath, whatever you want to call it, listen up, because I've curated a list of Nintendo games that are essential to play while your brain is in that smoothened state. I try to pick games that aren't too complex, but still have enough depth to keep you immersed. And these games aren't listed in any order, like we're going to be jumping around many different kinds of games and genres, but I will try to include a good amount of single player and multiplayer games. But first up, we got... An introduction just isn't needed. I mean, it's Wii Sports. It's an all-time classic. It's a perfect party game, and if you're high and you don't want to lay around, but you don't really want to go out in public because you're scared of being perceived, it's a great game that gives you a way to move around and get the blood pumping in some virtual sports. Honestly, this is probably an ideal game to play when high with friends, because playing Wii Sports high alone honestly just sounds kind of sad. But bonus points if you have the plastic peripherals and you can add that extra sense of immersion. Every mode in Wii Sports is an absolute W. If you're feeling more amped up and lively, you can put all that energy into boxing. Or if you're feeling a little more smooth-brained, golf is a leisurely time. And you can't forget about bowling or baseball, which if you're in the mood for baseball but don't want to move around, might I introduce you to Mario Superstar Baseball. I mean, this is a game that if you own it on disc and you can play it with friends locally, that's great. But I'd say it's just as good if you use Dolphin's Netplay and can play online matches with your friends who just aren't close by. This game is just so much fun, and it's so simple. You either swing your bat and run the bases, or you are throwing the ball and coordinating your players to out the runners. There's super moves that just feel so satisfying to hit, and the fields honestly make for such fun twists and mix-ups to your games. In my opinion, if you're going to play, the best way to do so is to just pick a team captain and hit random and go with the first team you get. The gameplay makes for fun times, but you're going to find the most enjoyment in listening to the noise the characters make. And you know what? The music is actually pretty good as well. But alright, if you want a more in-depth, thought-provoking game to play, you really can't go wrong with Breath of the Wild. Everything about this game makes it perfect to play when you're under the spell of this game is perfect for when you're under the spell of some Gandalf OG. With the art style and graphics that feel like Studio Ghibli, the music and sound design that truly make you feel as if you're there in this abandoned Hyrule as you venture forth, and the gameplay. Oh my god, if this is not the perfect game to play when toasty, because it bets on the player getting sidetracked and wandering off. And that's something that feels so natural and whimsical as you run off from your main objective because you saw something sparkle in the distance. 10 out of 10, I cannot recommend Breath of the Wild enough. But if you're someone who likes clear objectives and goals, I gotta say Pikmin. I would ideally say Pikmin 4 since graphically it's the best in the series overall, And personally, I also just kind of think it's the best in the series. Organizing your platoon of men while you coordinate your resources and efforts strategically while working against the clock, it's just so satisfying. And the visuals are amazing. Seeing real life items that you can recognize in this imaginary world is something that's so simple, but so satisfying and fun. Honestly, if you're getting toasty, you really can't go wrong with any of the Pikmin games. Just don't play Hey Pikmin, you will have a terrible trip. But alright, I hear you. What if you're someone who doesn't like feeling pressured against the construct of time? Well then, a good game to lose yourself in is Animal Crossing. And again, pretty much any Animal Crossing. My favorites are with New Leaf and New Horizons, in that order. But just everything about Animal Crossing makes it feel like a solid, cozy game to play when you're unwinding and frying your brain like an egg on a skillet. The music just always perfectly portrays the emotion of what time it is. I didn't know 2 p.m. could make me feel this way. There's so much more. I mean, the satisfying way the animals talk and the personalities they bring, along with the personality you can exert into this game, all of that makes Animal Crossing a great game to express your inner thoughts and get in a more sentimental state as you connect with your villagers on an emotional level. But sometimes they will call you ugly, so I just look out for that. Regardless of that, though, the satisfying gameplay that you can find in running chores, fishing, bug catching, and even stock market gambling are all elevated by the ability to see the fruits of your labor come to fruition with the things like the relationships you build with these villagers, or the museum harboring all your catches. God, I actually stopped writing this video to take a blinky and pay a visit to my town, and the pure bliss I felt made me feel so at peace. Now, if you want to disturb that feeling of bliss and peace and replace it with a tense, unyielding rage, Kirby's Dream Course is the perfect way to either have a fun time playing Kirby-themed golf, or have your friendships and self-confidence absolutely pulverized while playing Kirby-themed golf. I would honestly say that out of all the games I'm bringing up today, this is my go-to. This is a game you need to check out because it's very accessible. You can find it on Nintendo Online SNES, so it has multiplayer, and if you've been sleeping on this game, what are you waiting for? Roll up and roll out onto Kirby's Dream Course. The clip speaks for itself about how fun this game can be. And if you don't want to hate your friends, well then, working together is a sure way to prevent any distaste. Now look, I could say Mario Wonder, it is the more psychedelic of the 2D Mario games, but I'm not going to, because as a multiplayer Mario game, it's kind of inferior to the new Super Series because of things like the lack of collision and the screen following a set player in particular rather than just who's in the lead. So, as much hate as it gets, the new Super Mario Bros. Series is a much needed experience for friends to have. It's especially chaotic if you're under the influence of, if you're under the influence of that Barack Obubba. This series gets treated a little harshly nowadays, but if you haven't played it in a while, go back, and if you can, go back and play it with friends, and you might just fall in love with it all over again. So yeah, Wonder is better for its online capabilities, but it's a much better single-player Mario experience than a multiplayer one. Which, if you're dead set on playing a multiplayer Mario game with collision, you can always just add another axis into the new Super Mario Bros. And play 3D Worlds. It kinda has the same level and world structure as the new Super Mario Bros. Series, and 3D World is heightened with its cartoony visuals that are just so vibrant, its solid level design, and the variety you can have with each character having different playstyles. Well, if you can get the online to work, it works very well. But yeah, at times this game can definitely be. So I will say, if you don't want to be plagued by online connection issues and you're opting for a single player experience, well, 3D Land for the 3DS is basically the same game, but it provides a much better single player romp, and that like little vibration that 3D makes your eyes feel, and I mean, that's unreplaceable. Although, if you don't want to play a game that needs as much time invested and you want to opt for a smaller bite-sized game, maybe 51 smaller bite-sized games, well, you're in luck because 51 Clubhouse games is always a good time. I mean, half the fun is just figuring out what half of these games even are. This game is a much more tame experience, and it's a perfect game if you want to talk while you play a game, but you ended up chiefing too much purple monkey balls. Are we just making shit up now? But yeah, 51 Clubhouse games is a great time if you want to focus on more conversation than gaming. It's the next best thing to an actual table game experience. But if you're looking for a game that is even lighter in the amount of neurons it requires to be played, Pokemon Snap is the perfect game for everyone to gather around the TV while you all choke on some Gorilla Glue and have conversations about cars that run on water while you marvel in probably what is the best looking Pokemon game made to date, snapping pictures of the Pokemans in their natural habitat. It's so much simple fun. And honestly, the N64 version is also pretty enjoyable due to how funny the models look. But yeah, alright, I hear you. These last few games have been a little too smooth-brained, so let's get something that'll wrinkle and pucker that sucker of a brain up. So for those nights where you're feeling gentlemanly and smoked up on the most classy of the gassy, and you want to feel right out of Death Note with the mental gymnastics you're pulling off, well, Tetris 99 is the game for you. This is a game that I've actually spent many nights with as I've chiefed the John F. Kennedy and droolingly coughed into my pillow. The music really gets you into this feeling of hecticness, speeding up more and more as more players get eliminated, while you're watching everyone who's targeting you as you work against the extra lines at the bottom that players are throwing at you. It can be a tense game that requires concentration, but when you're on a roll, my god, it feels like you're Tony Stark using those holograms. Now, if you want to put that battle IQ towards a person right in front of you, well, Smash Brothers will always be my go-to game to play when high. When you're toasted, every play and every move you make, every attack you land or dodge can feel right out of an anime. When you lose in Smash, you feel it reverberated into your very being. And when you win, you establish this superiority and higher level of intellect than your opponent. And tournament rules are fun, and especially with some green crack? Is this legal anymore? Competitive rules can be a lot of fun, but so is playing the game as intended. Like, it's a children's party platformer fighting game. So I feel the game is most fun when you're playing it as it's intended to be played, with the wacky stages and items and final smashes. Those things can really make this game feel like an unpredictable time. Now, I could keep going, but I honestly don't want to drag the video on too terribly long. I mean, I could really keep going about some good Nintendo games to play when under the spell of some smell, but I can always come back and list off some more. And if this video is something you all enjoyed, let me know and maybe I'll make a part 2. Maybe I could even talk about some games that you recommend or non-Nintendo games. So if you liked this video or if you have something to say, shoot it in the comments. And yeah, my boys, thank you so much for watching. Also, I just want to add that don't smoke weed unless you already smoke weed. Then it's okay.